Rachel K. Collier and you're watching RKC Weekly. Welcome back to RKC Weekly, everybody. Happy Halloween. Hope you're feeling my costume. I'm actually dressed as a Martian producer. I went to Living on Mars exhibition this week and I got totally inspired. And you know what? If we move to Mars, you know we have to wear a suit like this all the time to protect us from radiation. So I'm going to give it a go tonight in tonight's video. But let's get to it. It's been a crazy week. Last week I dropped my debut album, RKC. Amazing response from you guys. Thank you so much. Last Sunday I did a whole live stream performance, which you can watch now. Also got a super cool collaboration coming out this Wednesday with an amazing musical instrument company called Melodics. But in tonight's video, I'm going to be talking you through my vocal chain that I've used on all of the tracks in my record. All those plugins, de-essers, EQs, compressors, reverbs, maybe a cheeky bit of delay and some saturation. So let's get to it. Let's check out this vocal chain. So I've just opened a project. This is actually track number 8 from my debut record RKC. It's called Bad Day. It's actually based on an experience I had when I went to India and I kind of came back feeling super inspired, and that's where the inspiration for this song came from. But yeah, let's get to it. Let me show you my vocal chain. So I'm going to find my main vocal right here, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so we can see it. And before we start chatting about plugins, let's just have a listen to it, see how it sounds, because obviously if you think it sounds crap, then you probably won't want to watch the rest of this video. But yeah, let's go for it. Let's press play.
You've got a problem for every solution. All you can see is the smoke and pollution. It's raining outside and your hair has gone wild. Oh, Mother Nature, she puts you through trials.
Cool, that's enough. So there we go, there is my verse vocal. And as you can see here, on all these effects, I have quite a large vocal chain going on. And yeah, so I'm going to split this up now into 5 sections in the video. And I'm going to be talking about my de-esser, my compression, my EQ, my reverbs, and my saturation. So the first thing we're going to look at is the de-esser here. So I use this lovely little FabFilter Pro de-esser. Super simple to use. And in this case, there's a lot of cool presets, and I'm just going to use the female wide band. So what I'm going to do is as well, I'm going to turn off all the plugins so we can hear this vocal completely dry.
You've got a problem for every solution.
So you could hear then instantly, solution. So actually S's, if you don't de-ess them, when you have it mastered and things like that, they can really, that's the most horrible grating thing in your ears. So, and this one, like I said, it's really simple to use. I'm just going to adjust the threshold, how much I want it to de-ess or how little, and also which frequency band, because obviously we don't want to de-ess it where there's actually no S's in those vocals, and the S's are always going to be in that higher frequency range. So I'm going to select the range here, just using these, adjust my threshold, and boom, it's as easy as that. Probably takes like a couple of minutes to chuck the de-esser on. So number 1, de-esser, FabFilter Pro DS. Cha-ching! So number 2, I'm going to talk about compression. So some of you guys watching this might be thinking, why is she doing compression next after the de-essing? And obviously that is up for debate, but I'm kind of one of those producers that goes by sound, and I prefer to like compress first because the compression I use really may change the tone of the vocal. So, you know, I want to get that tone first and then I'm going to EQ. I don't always work like that, but in this case, with this dry vocal, I felt like it didn't need any major EQing straight away. So I got a bit more excited and kind of went with the compression first. So first of all, I've got the 1176 here, which is like an amazing compressor, which I basically throw on everything first of all. You know, like a super low threshold, high ratio, just catching the peaks. So nothing too crazy, just quite subtle. And then what I like to do is experiment with other compressors. So this is one of my favorites because the tone of this, which is a Teletronics thing, is just banging. So you can put this, I put this on loads of stuff actually, but for the vocal here, I really wanted to go for like a more crunchy tone. And yeah, so I've got the Teletronics next. And again, it's not going too crazy. I'll just show you
You've
quite
got
subtle.
a problem for every solution.
Because if you look here, I've kept all the audio in here. And if we solo this track, listen to how much spill there is actually from my vocal mic.
Solution.
If you can hear that. So I don't like to produce, you know, when you hear those tracks and it's like absolutely slammed super hard with compression, and then you know, if you slam it that hard, all of this audio you just need to remove. And I think it just sounds over processed, and I prefer to like let my vocals breathe a little bit more. So yeah, so again, two in series here compressors, and then I've got another one here. And again, just really gentle compression. And the last in the series, I've got a multi-band, which after I've added my saturation and my decapitator as well, this just keeps everything in control and keeps it all nice and neat. So there is the compression. Obviously, they're all in different orders of the chain, but these two are the most important. So let's play that now with these two compressors and the de-esser.
You've got a problem for every solution.
And listen to it without the Teletronics.
You've got a problem for every.
I think it sounds pretty dull, so that's why I love that. And then now I've got that tone, I feel like I can have a bit of a better go at EQing it. Whereas if I EQ'd that first, then I don't know, it wouldn't quite work. So yeah, awesome.
You've got a problem for every solution.
So that is the compression. So number 3, let's talk about EQ, which is obviously super important. Now, usually I use the API 560 like first in or second in my chain, but like I said on this track, I felt like it didn't need any major EQ work straight away. So I've used the classic bread and butter of EQ. I use this EQ on absolutely everything, every track, and that is the FabFilter Pro Q2. Say hello to him. Hi! And as you can see, like I said, this vocal track in particular, maybe because of the vibe of the beat and things, I didn't feel like I needed to go too crazy with the EQ. But I love this FabFilter. It's just the easiest one to use. It doesn't colour your sound or anything. You don't get any like difference in changes of tone, like obviously with the LA2A and things like that. But yeah, it's so easy to use. You just double click anywhere you want to create whatever shape you need. Down here we've got all our shapes here, low shelf, low cut, and I've actually got a Magic Mouse here. Let me lift it up for you. If you guys are working on a Mac and don't have a Magic Mouse, then you're really missing out, because this thing, I can't produce without this thing. Look, check this out. Just slide my finger up and down, and it's just so quick and easy to EQ with. And one of the coolest things about this EQ here is that you can EQ the mono and the stereo sound separately. Now obviously this is like a mono vocal, so I haven't done that, but check this out. So if you select the mid side here, and then you click on any point, so say this little tiny peak here, and here look, if I click there, I can just EQ the mono part of this vocal sound individually, which is just super cool, and that won't affect the stereo, which is here. So that is super good, and something that, you know, not many EQs actually have. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. And like I said, I've just upgraded to the Pro Q3, which is just even more insane. Obviously I produced this track a little while back now, so it's not in this track, but in all my newer productions. And actually the FabFilter, the new reverb from them, is also really cool as well. So I'm just going to undo any, oh gosh, changes I will have made here, which I don't want to do. But yeah, so the FabFilter Pro Q2, let's hear it in action.
You've got a problem for every
So you can see it's just boosting a tiny bit here, taking off any unwanted like sounds here and the low cuts. Don't usually like to cut off too much. It depends on the sound I'm going for. Sometimes I like it for style. I like to take, really take a lot of the bottom end off. But I feel, around here is kind of this warm tones. So I like to keep that in a little bit. But yeah, so that is my favourite. Like I said, bread and butter EQ goes on everything. And that is the FabFilter Pro Q2. So number 4, and this is super important to me and my vocal chain. And some of you guys might be watching this thinking, she doesn't have a clue, dress like whatever. But, there's no right or wrong, I feel, in production. It's whatever sounds good. And yeah, I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm not one of these majorly technical producers. It's all about how it sounds. I feel like that is the most important thing. And I'm actually working with another artist now on some stuff. And the way she produces, she actually has no clue about anything, but what the sound she chooses and the relationships with each other sound so good. So I just say to her, babe, it doesn't matter that you don't maybe necessarily know what the knee means and all these separate kind of technical things. It's just about how it sounds, and that's really the way I work when I'm producing. So, saturation. If you guys watched my last plugin video, you know I'm a big fan of saturation plugins. I was using the Ableton pedal in that one. And but I actually use a variety of different saturation plugins. I use the Satin, RC20, VSM3, Kramer Tape. But I'd say my favourite ones and most used ones are like Ableton pedal. But I'm a massive fan of this Decapitator, which is another plugin made by Soundtoys. Now you can go super crazy with this. Let's play the little vocal here.
You've got a problem for every solution.
I mean, I actually do kind of like that, but it's a bit ridiculous, isn't it? So I'll pull it back down, just a little bit here, and you've got the usual things here, your low cut. You can mess around with the tone as well, which I like to do. You've got your high cut, your drive, punish. What a cool name. That means, obviously just push it even harder.
You've got a problem for every solution.
I reckon my next record's going to be even more crushed. I love it. So I've got a little bit of the Decapitator on here. The mix is quite low, drive's quite high, because I've also used a classic here, the Overdrive Ableton standard plugin. Now, this plugin is super simple, and but you know what? If I'm just like writing a song or something, I'm just vibing out or improvising a melody, I just put this on when I'm singing live, and it gives me like a bit of an energy and a bit of a vibe. And quite a lot of the time then I'll end up keeping that, kind of saturation plugin in. So yeah, check it out now with the Overdrive and the Decapitator.
You've got a problem for every solution.
And without it really makes
You've got a problem for every solution.
Saturation means a lot to me, and that is always going to be quite up there in my vocal chain. Ow, this wig itches. So the final thing in the vocal chain, obviously depending on the sound you're going for, like the Billie Eilish vibe is super dry. I do kind of like a dry vocal, and sometimes I try and do a dry vocal, but I don't know, it's just something about it doesn't sit well with me. So I've always got some sort of reverb and kind of delay going on. And you will have seen in my last plugin vid again, the Echo Boy is one of my faves. So I've just got a really nice little simple slap 8-note delay here. Pull up the mix. I think this is such a great plugin. Let's go to another line, so I'm getting a bit bored of that one.
Raining outside and your hair's gone wild.
And I love to automate the parameters on these as well. In this one, because this is just a straight up vocal chain, I haven't done much automation. And sometimes instead of automating all these, I'll like duplicate this track and like maybe push an effect really hard and then kind of freeze and flatten it, just to like keep it neat with the CPU. And sometimes if I can't be asked to keep looking through millions of different automations. It depends what mood I'm in, really. But yeah, so this is my little Echo Boy I've got on here. And I've also got a UAD spring reverb here as well, which is pretty nice. And then, as you can see here, guys, I've got a send. And this is my Vox Verb, so I'll show you that. And I've got, you know, my old fave, the Val Hal here. So yeah, so I've got a little bit sent to a reverb send as well. So yeah, so I've got Echo Boy, a spring verb, and Valhalla on a send, which is pretty cool. And then let's have a little listen to how it's sounding now. Let's go for the second line.
All you can see is the smoke and pollution. It's raining outside and you're...
And then to finish off my chain, like I said earlier, just to keep stuff neat, I'm going to bring in my multiband here, which is another FabFilter plugin. These things are great. And this just neatens it and catches anything a bit out of control. And finally, another very pretty pattern here on the FabFilter Pro Q2 just to top it all off. So that is kind of how a standard RKC vocal chain might look. Now, I also like to vary the vocal chains through the song as well. So that's the verse. Now the instrumentation in this pre-chorus is completely different.
But your bad day could be all play for a girl in a city
So
with no...
I've switched up the vocal chain a bit here. Okay, so I've still got my 1176, still got my Teletronics, still got the basic stuff there, as you can see. But yeah, stuck a little LFO tool on here, very, very subtle. And I've got some automation here with an overdrive and a delay. So yeah, I do like to switch in a song. It's not uncommon that we'd have like a lead vocal, a pre-chorus vocal, and whatever, a breakdown vocal with a completely different vocal chain. Vocals for me definitely probably have the most plugins on out of all the channels in a track. They're the thing that take the longest, the thing that I need to tweak, and the thing that's hardest to always sound right. And actually, guys, I've showed you the vocal chains here, but they did get processed further for the final mixes by Christopher Harris for the whole RKC album. So yeah, so that's kind of my vocal chain. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me play a little bit more for you, maybe the second verse.
Big for perspective and lift the illusion. We all are free to embrace the solutions.
So that's it from me tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video on my vocal chain. I just want to say that if you haven't heard my album, it's available everywhere now, worldwide. Would love you to go and check it out. Let me know what you think. I'm also selling it on these lovely little 2 gig RKC USB sticks. They're available on my website. You can also buy a sample pack. And if you want to go crazy and listen to all the stems from my record, I'm also selling them too. And on the 19th of November, I've got a big London show. So if any of you guys are in the UK, would love for you to come down and join in. And next Sunday, actually, I'm going to be dropping a whole live performance video from a festival that we played in the summer. So stick around for that video next Sunday. And of course, I just want to say thanks to all my patrons that might be watching. If any of you guys fancy becoming a patron, that would be amazing. There's loads of extra content on there, kind of rewards, meet and greets and things like that. And that really helps me to continue to be RKC and dress in these fantastic costumes. So thank you for watching tonight. Thanks to everyone who's been supporting me on this whole journey throughout this year. Literally means everything, and without you guys I wouldn't be able to continue and be as happy as I am. So thank you, and I'll see you next week on RKC Weekly. Mwah.